Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, it's Sir David the Bard. Let me make sure my camera. Okay, Sir David the Bard. I'm coming to you from the Coca-Cola manufacturing company here in the Australian outback. We have many kangaroos that are employed here at the factory. One of the things that I'm here for is they wanted me to help them with an experiment. Now, I don't know if you know this, but honey, shut my door here, will you please? Back in the, boy, she's cute. Back in the old days, when I was at BYU, uh, we didn't know that when you bought a Coke in California in your car, and you didn't drink it, and you drove to Utah, the son of a bitch would blow up. We didn't know that. It's a mile high. It's 5,000 feet in Salt Lake City off of the sea level. And so when we bought anything, we had to make sure it was pressurized at a point where it could go up and down the mountains and the hills. Well, I can't tell you how many times I drove from BYU, and I'd have Cokes in the back, and suddenly I could hear a Coke can blow up. Now this has been, whatever, 60 years ago, 55 years ago, I don't know, 53 years ago. I remember, it's kind of like combat. Now I'm not trying to belittle people who have been in the military for sure, but when you hear certain types of explosions, you identify what the hell that was. I can tell a fart if it's at sea level or if it's at 5,000 feet. One of them you launch into outer space. Now I'm off. I haven't taken my meds today. My mind. There's two kinds of farts, and I didn't know this, okay? I've been studying farts for a long time. I have 14 children. And I had the philosophical question. I asked my little Mormon friend, I asked him, when you're on the moon and you fart, is there a noise? We know that there's no air on the moon. So air is indigenous to farting, isn't it? I don't know. I think it is. So if you fart on the moon, there's no sound. Now, if you fart on the moon, there's no smell. You got to have air for smell, don't you? These are important philosophical questions that you start to get when you get older and closer to death. There's important things that you need to know, and I do. Now, the other thing is when I got thinking about moon farts and their significance and their viability, etc. Now, when I was at BYU, God, we lived by, I lived in Chipman Hall, and the football team lived over in John Hall. And John Hall, they were always plugging the drains up and letting the water go out the windows and the doors, and the football players were total assholes. But the Mormon church and the university didn't do anything because the football players were so important to the team there and to the school. So anyway, I learned in Chipman Hall, when some of the football players would come around or whatever, we would learn shit that I didn't know. Now I have a college education, but I didn't know these things. I didn't even have these things in my master's degrees. Never heard of them. So what would happen is that they would bring over a football player, and it would take two or three, and one of them would bend over, and I think that was his name, Mr. Bend Over. Oh, and see? We're not on the moon. We're not on the moon. Oh, God, I wish I was on the moon. Anyway, one of the guys would come over, and we'd all stand around like a priesthood blessing, and we'd take each other in the patriarchal order, the sign of the second token of the Melchizedek priesthood, the patriarchal order, sure side of the nail, and raise our left hand to the square to watch this Mormon ritual ceremony. So the one football player would begin to fart. Now, you kind of had to have you had to have the ability to hold your nose for about 2 or 3 minutes to see this experiment, that or a gas mask. And so he would start farting. Well, his friend would strike a match and hold it by the fart machine, also known as a butt. I'd be damned, the flame came out of there. The flame came. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. Now, sometimes the guy's butt would, get really hot, kind of catch on fire, and he'd have a butt blister, a butt burn. But these were football players. These guys knew what pain was all about. They would do this to entertain themselves, and they were good at it. Now, that's the fart story, okay? Now, as I began to analyze the nature of farts, I began to think, now, what if you farted on the sun? Now, there's no air there. The gravity is enormous, and the gas coming out of the human being probably would be ignited, wouldn't it? You're on a multi-nuclear planet with billions of degrees. A little fart, I think it's going to blow you up. So, these are dangerous things. I wanted to work for NASA because I thought that I had something to give. They didn't, but now they know better. So, if you have a moon fart, you're going to be okay. If you have a sun fart, hell, your butt's going to catch on fire like at BYU, and I think you're going to go up in flames. Now, there's no air there. I don't know how that nuclear stuff keeps going when there's no air, but I don't think it matters. I think if you're sitting in a restaurant and people start disappearing, that's because they farted, No one likes to know that, no, she farted over there. Well, now, if you're on the sun, she just disappears. Hey, here's a fart. She's gone. She's gone. Now, let me bring this all together in a bipolar way. I'm sitting here, as usual, and I'm sleeping, I'm doing one of these, because that's what old people do. We do that really well, then we wait. Then we do that again. It just goes on and on. And suddenly I hear a gunshot. Now, I'm thinking the danites are climbing up the kangaroo rope here. They found me. Maybe there's a couple of danite kangaroos, and they're jumping up and down, and when they get high enough, they shoot through. But Jesus, that's a hell of a bang and a sound. So I thought, well, maybe I'm hearing things. Now, at my age, there's a lot of things I don't hear, and a lot of things I don't see. But there's also a lot of things I do see, and a lot of things I do hear that aren't there. So I'm in a world of maybe, maybe not, maybe, pay me, lay me, hail me, there you go. And look at, I can break dance to that thing. Anyway.
Front door.
Anyway. Oh gosh, here's my baby. Here comes Allison. Gonna come in here and watch. Huh?
Hi.
Hi, baby. I've got a couple of medications for you right there. We're on. So if you want to leave.
I need your phone.
The phone? I need your room right. There's a few things that are not right in there. Get in
right,
there.
guys, it's right. He just has this imaginary stuff that he doesn't want me to use his phone. He makes excuses about stuff.
Anyway, I'm laying here again, and there's a second shot. Bam! Now I'm worried, okay? Because danites will miss.
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with what? That hat and stuff right there, and you didn't make the bed.
What hat?
Go in and make the bed.
What hat?
The chair and the bed.
What are you pointing at?
Anyway.
See, I told you guys. My bed is done. So's my chair.
Get out of here. You're making me old.
You're making excuses that I have stuff.
Now, I go to bed. I go to sleep. These naps are being interrupted by the danites, and I know they're looking through the window, and these danites, they can shoot like a mile with those sniper rifles, and they have barred bullets now. When the bullet hits you, it cuts your throat. It also rips out your heart and rips out your guts. It's a special Mormon danite bullet called the penalties of the temple. Anyway, the third time, suddenly, I get a tremendous, okay, come here.
Want to relax? Oh yeah, I had a cool substitute today. She was so young. She was awesome. She was like, she goes like, "What's up? It's cool. Hey." And she goes like, "Dude." And she goes like that. I love those kinds of substitutes. They're like nowadays.
Yeah.
Instead of olden days.
Okay,
No
go play with the phone. I love you. Shut the door, honey. So anyway, I'm saying to myself, what the hell? I've heard this sound before. I've heard this before. It does sound like a bullet, but it doesn't have the exact same crack of a bullet. It explodes, but it's not a bullet. So I'm sitting here, and the third time I'm watching. You know you're old. There's two things that you know when you're old, okay? You will watch a TV that's not on. It's very exciting. A TV that's not on, hey, it can be exciting. Okay, you know now you're getting old. And if you're looking at any porn and you go to sleep accidentally, you know you're really old if that happens to you. So anyway, I'm sitting here and I have my Coke machine across the way from me here. And my sweet wife Mercy came in this morning and she's putting Cokes in it, and god dang, that girl, those Filipino girls really know how to take care of a man. They do. I'm sorry, American girls, you're cute, but damn, these Filipino girls are trained from infancy to take care of a man, and they're so gracious, so kind, and so naive. I like that word. Anyway, I'm looking at the TV that's not on, and I had to turn the sound up, but it's not on. I hear more if I turn the sound up, even if the TV's not on. Suddenly, I get the third explosion. Bam! And I'm looking at my little Coke machine over there, and I'll be damned, it blew the door open of the Coke machine. Coke goes everywhere. It's a refrigerator. How can a Coke explode in a refrigerator unless they weren't being careful about the altitude? Well, these days they are careful about the altitude. So I go over. You gotta see it to believe it. Watch the chair. If you see the Holy Ghost sit down, or the danites behind it, I'm going to show you something that you're not going to believe, because I didn't believe it. Alright? let me get back on so you can see. Do you see that can of Coke? This one is good. This is one of the good ones. It's like 100 degrees in my hand. It hasn't exploded. But the other ones blew up. I mean, the can is like twice as tall. It's a tall beer. So anyway, I got to run back over and put him in the fridge so he'll cool down again. Now, you've seen it with your own eyes, okay? A Coke can that is twice as high as it's supposed to be. Now, how do you explain this? Okay, it's kind of like a moon fart. Did it happen? Didn't it happen? Okay? Here's what happened. My little Coke machine has a heater to keep things hot and warm, and it's a refrigerator to keep things cold, like a drink. Well, Mercy loaded it, and in the Philippines, there's no difference between hot and cold. You just turn it on. You don't have electricity in the Philippines. Red lights, green lights, they don't mean anything. So, god dang. The Coke is 120 degrees. Boom, the doors blow open. And I think the danites are after me. And I'm crawling on the ground like the G.I. Joe, trying to find, did they shoot my Coke machine, or was it, I don't know. Mercy's still LDS to a certain point. Maybe maybe the danites came by, the home screwers, or the home teachers, and gave her Cokes that had bombs in them. It might have been terrorists. We don't know. We don't know if it was terrorists. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to share with you my fart theories. I think they're important. I hope it goes down as part of my legacy. And I'm telling you right now, I know when a Coke will explode. It's right at about 120 degrees. Once it's that hot, I don't care where it was manufactured, what the altitude was, it gives up. It gives up the ghost. And even in the true order of prayer, it'll blow your face right off. So don't get down and look in the fridge. Bam! You could be killed looking for a Coke. So, I want you to have health and enable marrow in the bones, strength and loins and saints, power and priesthood be upon me and upon my posterity through all generations of time and throughout all eternity. And I do hope that I don't choke or croak on a Coke. And I need health and enable, marrow in the bones, strength in the loins and the sinew. I need all that stuff. And I also need the pay me, lay me, and nail me, oh God, hear the words of my mouth 3 times. And I certainly want to make sure that the penalties is not a Coke in the face. So anyway, be careful, be careful. Don't get a Danite Coke. That's made for the Bard. This Bard is gone.